Our first question is from Jay. My dad, like most, isn't getting any younger nor any stronger. My mom wants me to try to get him into a workout routine as he just pulled his back the other week trying to move the sofa. It's one of the things I'm still very proud of. I'm 66 years old at the time of this podcast, and I'm still the number one person people ask to move couches, sofas, and all the rest. It's good, and I think, of course, a lot of that is from lifting all these years and from doing loaded carries for the past quarter century, and that can sometimes make a difference. I started lifting weights in 1965 and started doing loaded carries in the late 90s, early aughts, and I think it just keeps you young. So when I answer your question, Jay, I'm going to use my experience to tap into what I think you need to do. He currently does body weight exercises, but very infrequently. So in other words, in my experience, that sentence means he doesn't do anything. Where do you think I should try and start with him? My mom thinks he'll respond to me better than her, but I live 8 hours away. They have kettlebells, 12 through 20K, a pull-up bar, and a TRX. He has all the time in the world. Any tips would help. Well, first, this back injury, I hope would be a wake-up call, because there's only two directions you kind of go with a back injury, especially if you get that kind where it feels like someone cracked the whip, where you, and it feels like a lightning bolt hit you, and you're in pain for months. You're either going to go in a better direction and, take care of that extra barrel you have in the front, get the walking in, take care of business. I remember Dr. Morgan telling me years ago that he wanted me to walk every day for a bad back, and Stu McGill years later said the exact same thing. The exercises Dr. Morgan gave me were very similar to Stu McGill's Big Three. Different, but similar. And so if you do hurt your back, the best thing I can think of is walking, followed by intelligent core abdominal exercises that kind of teach you to stay braced and locked down during the rest of life. The other direction your father can go is what I often see, and that is just people put their feet up in a comfortable chair, they get the TV on, and they just sit in the chair, kind of exasperating the issues of the injury. So let's hope your dad turns in the right direction. The first thing I would say is, if someone's coming back from an injury, you have three kinds of equipment here. You have the kettlebell, which is great for, the kettlebell is great for all kinds of things. I think it does. I remember telling people who used to say that the swing is a fat burning athlete builder. And I still think that's true. I still think for athletic movement, the kettlebell swing is really a good thing to learn. Obviously with presses and front squats, you can do some hypertrophy work. You can also do Turkish get-ups and that whole family of the windmill, Turkish get-up, and then some of the variations of the bent press to work on, the mobility through the whole spinal column. So it is a one-stop shop. But if you're coming back from an injury, I would shift over to those other two pieces of equipment you have, the pull-up bar and the TRX, our suspension trainer. The nice thing about a pull-up bar, and if you can get them just to hang, good things will happen. Now, in my experience, almost everybody who has back injuries also seems to have shoulder injuries. You hit a certain age and everything just starts to catch up with you. I don't know what your father's age is, but it seems like things are catching up. So the nice thing about hanging from the pull-up bar is it does great work for your shoulder health. But one of the things, and I always joke in my gym, I'll be hanging up there and all of a sudden you'll hear this pop, pop, pop. And then I'll pop off and I'll say, that's the poor man's chiropractor, because it does really do a lot of great work for this whole area. Boy, I'm touching the base of my skull, probably to below my scapulas. That it really seems to help me there. And of course, this is what I do every single day for that reason. And I also sit at the bottom of the goblet squat every day. And I've even figured out a way to do that in my sauna with a fun little it's an interesting way to do mobility work in my sauna, where I sit at the bottom of the goblet squat. And I think that the bottom squat helps you with your feet flexibility, your ankles, if there is such thing as knee flexibility, obviously hips. And then it also seems when I'm sitting at the bottom and I'm pushing my knees out, my lower back gets a chance to relax and get to where it needs to be. So hanging and sitting at the bottom of the goblet squat would be two things, or any kind of body weight squat. You can just even grab a door handle and just use that as a counter and squat down. That is how I originally taught squats before the goblet squat. Now we're going back a long time there. So those two things I would recommend first. And then on the TRX, any of the family of the T's, where you lean back, you make T's, the Y's, the I's, the rows, I think any of that family is going to help a lot. It will be with his own body weight, so there's no challenge of worrying about load. Obviously you'll make the suspension trainer harder by moving where your feet are in relationship to your hands. And usually if you want to make it easier, you with the pulling family, you walk away from the support. If you want to make it harder, you walk into it and even under it. But also with that, he could even get into some basic, those kind of suspension trainer. They're a push-up, but they're almost dip-like in their ability to get deep. I think those are fabulous. We do Supermans, like arms straight and then you fly. It's an ab wheel. It's a great way to work the ab wall. So for right now, and I feel like I'm giving medical advice, and I hope I'm not. Please take it in the spirit of, us having a conversation. The daily mobility of the hang and the bottom of the goblet squat, some basic TRX work, and then walking. And until he kind of comes around with his lower back, I would keep there. After that, I'd love to see him get involved with kettlebells. I think the goblet squat, for sets of 10 is a wonderful thing for anybody over 35. And if we can get him just to do goblet squats and presses, I think, and keep those suspension trainer exercises, he'll have a good program. And then there's this big if, and then there should be like some kind of weird, Lord of the Rings, if he's willing to do the work, good things will happen. And if he's not, well, we can have these conversations all day long. Everybody has to find their own, I hate to call them triggers anymore, or motivations, even resolutions, because, those are kind of like the word core. These are words that are so overdone. But I think you understand what I'm talking about. He has to wanna. He's got to wanna. He's got to want it. Okay? I hope that helps, Jay. It's a good question. To review for anybody listening, if you get your daily hang, your daily sit at the bottom of the goblet squat, you do some basic suspension trainer moves where you do the T's, Y's, I's, rows, maybe a few, that dippy push-up, and then some goblet squats and some, overhead presses. That's a pretty good workout. You finish that with walking and you're doing okay. And remember, and this is an insight I've been learning and relearning for years, if you put in 5 to 7, 15 to 20 minute workouts every day, and a little bit longer if you decide to go for a longer walk, it's going to keep you going a lot better than anything in the middle. So this is a final point I want to do. If you're preparing for a bodybuilding contest where you're lifting weights 3 sessions a day for an hour and a half, plus doing morning cardio, plus, eating barely anything, your commitment, is going to be about 24 hours a day, every day for the entire time preparing for the bodybuilding meet. I think that's a great approach. If you're not going to dedicate 24 hours a day, try to dedicate 20, 30 minutes a day. Dedicate anywhere in the middle just doesn't seem to always get your goals. It's better to go every day, get something in every day. Over time, the joke we use in our gym is the 5x52 or the 3x52 method. 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, 7 days a week. But if we can just get him to do the very bare minimums, he'll see some tremendous changes. Thank you.